This is the Variety Sports Network created for the fans, by the fans. Now to your host of tonight's show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from the north to the south, from the east to the west, welcome to the seventh inning stretch. We're here in the Dugout Mug studio, and this episode is brought to you by Row One Brand.
Josh, how we doing tonight?
We're doing good, man. I'm beat, dude. And everybody, I'm sorry I'm not on the screen. I look like a hot mess. I did not have enough time to get clean after doing all the yard work to prep for this holiday weekend. So I am audio only this evening.
And we got a lot to get into though. Still on the show, we got a lot of baseball. We're now in September now, right? We're hitting September baseball, big part of the year. We'll get into the AL West race here in a minute. We'll get into Acuna getting his 60 stolen base there and getting hugged out in the field. And we'll get into, of course, our hot and cold of the week and touch on there's some really good weekend matchups as well. We'll touch on some of those as well. Going to the seventh inning stretch. Big shout out to Brandon for the new graphics here on the show at the bottom. I was going to give you a little heads up on what we're going to talk about as well as a few other things there. Josh, I feel like we got to start right away in the AL West. The Rangers are up. The Rangers are up by one. Or the Rangers are down now by a game in that division. You have Seattle, who you were basically calling out a month and a half ago. They're now ahead of the game technically in the loss column, but Houston and Seattle are tied. Texas one game back. Texas has just fallen off the map. I mean, they have blown so many games. It's ridiculous how many games they have blown this year. What's your thoughts on the AL West there? Who do you think might pull that out?
Dude, I am not even sure with what everything is going on. Like, you brought it up, Texas. The Rangers were like Wile E. Coyote chasing the Roadrunner, right?
Yeah.
And they come to the cliff, and the Roadrunner just keeps going, and the Wile E. Coyote just goes for like 6 feet, and then he just stops and just when he hits the ground. That's what the Texas Rangers were like. This has been horrible. I don't know what happened. We were so high on them. At least I was. I backed them all season. They made me look good all year. And all of a sudden, they just died. I don't know what's going on down there. I don't know if it could be fixed. It could just be a bad run of games. It happens to teams in August, and then they get hot in September and go to the playoffs and make deep runs. St. Louis Cardinals. But they're not going to do that this year. That's not what I'm saying, guys. I'm saying they have a history of it. So, anyway, I don't know, man. I don't know. They still have the pitching.
It's the bullpen. You can't blow 6 games in 2 weeks. I mean, you just can't do that. Your team gets demoralized in August and September. If you're a fan of a team, nothing is worse than your team blowing a game when you have the lead late in the game. You know what I mean? You've done your job, and then the game is not finished. I feel like the Rangers, they had Will Smith in there for a little bit. He was doing good for a while. Then he had his moments, and now Chapman goes in, and he still hasn't been able to perform at all in the same situation. I mean, if you look at the last 10 games I had here, they're 3-7. They've lost 7 games multiple times now in the last month, in back-to-back weeks. So I don't know. Like, I just feel like the Rangers are. I don't know. I guess my next question is: do you think all 3 could make the playoffs? I guess.
Well, let's do that real quick. Let's talk about that. So let's just say Texas, Houston, Seattle all make the playoffs. Minnesota does because they win their division. You got Baltimore and Tampa Bay. No, all 3 of them can't make it unless Tampa Bay dies. If Tampa Bay does what Texas did, then yes, all 3 can make it. But if Tampa continues to play the way they've played all year, even with the man, they've still been really, really good. I can't take anything away from them as of late. They just don't look as good because they're not blowing out the water like they were at the beginning of the season. As long as they keep doing what they've been doing, 2 teams from the West.
The Mariners have been the team that's been ridiculous. I mean, they're just
fire,
dude, just cooking. I mean, what is it? What did Rodriguez go into the month of August like 14th in hits? Like, he went into the month 14th in hits. He left the month of August leading the AL in hits. That's how on fire this guy has been. They won 21. They won 21 games in August. So and then of course you have the steady Astros who are right there. They get Altuve back. And they've been getting the great pitching performances. And it's hard to count out the Astros as well.
The Astros, yeah. I mean, their reign's coming to an end. We can see that it's coming to
I
an
don't
end,
know,
but
man.
they're
I don't know
still.
if they've hung in there the whole year.
I'm with you on that, but they're not the dominant that they were in the past 3-4 years.
No, but I think they can beat these teams out for the division.
I can still totally see that. I'm not saying you're wrong there. I can totally see that, especially with the way Texas fell apart. And I mean, the Mariners may stay hot. I mean, Rodriguez had 17 hits in 4 games there too. That was part of his whole run and
17
how
for
he just took it
21.
over. Yeah, and it was ridiculous. But when it comes to Houston, I mean, I think Houston can definitely be there. They have the experience on their side, on the field, in the clubhouse, and managing the team. So you can't count Houston out. I mean, there's not in your right baseball mind. You can't. Seattle's just been playing great, and Texas died. So we'll see what happens. September's gonna be super interesting. The AL West by far is going to be the most fun division to watch going into September and leading into the playoffs.
Do you think momentum carries game to game?
I mean, you were an athlete just like I was. What would you say?
I would say no. I would say it doesn't.
I say yes.
Because I would say, like in baseball, I've seen it multiple times where a team looks really good and then they just, for some reason, it does. The next game they maybe can get momentum, but I'm not sure if like from game to game that momentum is necessarily working because I've seen it so many times the other way. Well, it doesn't work as well. You know what I mean? Like in the game, I believe there's more momentum than between games.
Okay, I agree with you on that. But like, if your team wins, and this could be different from different sports, because I'm thinking in terms of football. You win 4 games in a row and you knock off a team that was supposedly better than you. You got that mojo, you got that feel, and there's a vibe, right? I would consider that momentum, and as long as you're vibing, that momentum stays rolling. Now it picks up on game days, obviously, but you always have that. Man, you kind of have a swag. It's just different when you're winning, and I got to be a part of that for a couple years when I was in high school. I mean, I was on a state championship team that went 14-2, and I was on another team that went 12-2, and we were nationally ranked. So I mean, I know what that likes to be good. To be good, I think there is momentum that carries. Baseball, I guess, can be different, but I feel like if you're going to play 9 games against your division and you roll your division basically all the time, you're going to have division. You're going to have momentum through those 9 games as long as you're playing well. I don't know. That's how I look at it.
I don't know. I think my only thing with the momentum part of it is like I've seen it so many times where it just plays out where like you saw it in the World Series where the Rangers ended up looking unreal in Texas, and then you guys come back and win those 2 games. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing for me where momentum is always. I just don't believe it kind of carries over. I know what you're saying, but I feel like when like a team goes on a 9-game win streak like that, even in football, it's still the players on that game doing the work, not just like this time between the games so much. But I get the thought of it. I don't know. That just came to my mind when I was thinking about how bad the Rangers were played there for a minute.
Or just how good the or how good the Mariners are playing right now.
Yeah,
I mean, you can talk about it either way.
Exactly. And what do you think about? Let's keep it moving here. What do you think about the Orioles or the Brewers? My question is, can the Orioles or the Brewers, which one has a better chance of hanging on in first place in their division? The Orioles are up 1.5 games right now, and the Brewers are up 3 against the Cubs. Who do you kind of like to hold on here in September?
Okay, so
maybe more than the other.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say I think the Brewers have a better chance of holding on and sitting tight where they're at. Yeah. I think that experience they have in the end of the season helps them. They have Woodruff back and he's pitching really well, so it takes some of the pressure off. I think his return to the rotation is what has carried the Brewers right now. The Cubs are playing unbelievably great baseball right now. Fantastic. They're a lot of fun to watch. We said this early in the season before you came on as my lead guy, that the Cubs were going to be one of 2 things. Either they were going to be absolute laughing stocks of the entire league for the moves they went and made, like Bellinger and all the older guys, all the retreads they gave the 1-year deals to. Or the other side was going to be they're going to look like geniuses because Bellinger's going to come back rejuvenated. He's going to look like he did when he was an all-star. Nudge, nudge, he's doing that. All the other retreads they picked up have worked out. Stroman's pitched great. Steele's been amazing. Their pitching staff's been fantastic, which is what's carried them. So I think the Cubs could still come out, overtake the Brewers by the end of the season, and take the division. But I think it's more likely that the Brewers will be able to hold on rather than the Orioles, because not just because of the distance in the games, but Tampa Bay's a really good team. They get hot again like they were at the start of the season. Here at the end, they're going to run everybody over. So I mean, I would say I lean toward the Brewers.
Yeah.
But it's more or less because the Cubs. I think the Cubs could go on a run more so than I don't know, man.
Dude,
I just even through my explanation, I think I just changed my mind
can we acknowledge that the fact that the AL East is going to be like an absolute? It should be a really good race, right? Like you're not just saying like because if you look at like let's just take the Twins Guardians, like it's within 5, right? But they have 69 wins. Like this is an 83 win Orioles team versus 82 win Rays team. The Rays got off to a great start. They're kind of starting to find themselves again, going back into the playoffs. The Orioles have been consistent the whole year. The Rays have almost outscored the Orioles by 100 runs though this season. So it'll be very fascinating for this last 30 days where these teams duke it out. So that one to me is going to be way more of a dogfight than I believe it is going to be for the Brewers. I think the Cubs are finally going to hit their wall this maybe second week of the month. And I believe you saw that with Burns. He didn't win the game against the Cubs on Tuesday night, but he was nasty and he got out of a lot of jams. I still just like the Brewers way more over the Orioles if I'm going to pick them. But I do believe that race in the East is way more intriguing.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The race in the Central might be more fun, though, because of how the Cubs are playing ball right now.
Yeah. And are we both out on the Reds at this point? 6 games back?
Or do you think I'm out on the push? No, I'm out of the Reds. I'm out of the Reds. I think they still might look like they're going to make a push, but I don't think they'll have enough in the month to get the job done. Again, this is granted that the Brewers and the Cubs continue to play the way they've been playing, and they don't pull a Texas Rangers on us.
Yeah, the standings out there are crazy. You had the Guardians today, right? With their deal, they end up picking up all these guys on waivers. We'll kind of get into the Angels here in a little bit, but that was kind of a big deal there with it as well. What do you think? Do you think the Guardians can make a little push? They pick up Giolito. They pick up a couple other pitchers here. I'll get their names here in just a second. What do you think what do you think they do? Like, do you think they make maybe a little push? It says they got Lopez and they got Moore as well. Matt Moore, that is. So what do you think? You think it makes a little difference for him or no?
I mean, I think it brings a spark for the first 2 weeks. We'll see if it carries through the back half of the month. That I think it's the Twins to lose, to be honest. But it could help, man. Again, here we go back to momentum and stuff. Bringing these guys on, maybe if there's some fresh energy, maybe that brings some momentum in the locker room and it turns things around for that organization, and then they do make a run. Nothing in baseball right now surprises me. That's why I'm kind of iffy and all over the place. Sorry.
No, I just feel like that's a big part with it is where are we going to go with in the division? I just feel like the Twins they just kind of been there the whole year, and if they fall off, that one to me at this point would seem like the one that would almost hurt the most, where they could blow, because I don't know, like they've only been up 4 or 5, but it just feels like way bigger of a lead than that. You know what I mean?
Right. Hey, no, I completely understand.
Let's turn 2 here for a minute. What do you think about the Yankees continuing to struggle? I think this might be the first time since 1993 they finished in last place in their division. The AL East obviously has been very good. They've been on top of it a lot over the last 23 years, or maybe even more than that, going all the way back to 96. So about 28 years, they've just been dominating that division. They're going to be in last place. There's a good chance this season. My question kind of is, how do we fix them? But I guess we can also kind of go into like, how, what kind of got him to this point as well. They released Donaldson today. He gets picked up, I believe, by the Brewers. He got picked up maybe by I just feel like that injury to Judge killed him in June. I mean, Cole's having a Cy Young season, but they're just not getting that same effort from Cortez again like they did last year. Their bullpen hasn't been very good at all. I don't know. Your thoughts on maybe the Yankees, and do they finally just start going younger and maybe developing guys?
Well, yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go, to be honest with you. It's develop a farm system. Have some homegrown talent and build a core, and then bring in your other superstars from around the league. Like this is why I despise the Yankees and why I love the Cardinals, because they're the 2 most prolific teams in MLB history, and they do it completely opposite. They run the organizations completely opposite. The Yankees obviously were dominant a lot earlier than the Cardinals ever were. So, but if you look over the last 20 years, I think they have the same amount of World Series.
Yeah.
And they probably are pretty close in division titles. That's what I'm getting at here. The Cardinals typically have a really good farm system, and they develop their talent, and then it works out for them. And the Yankees go and buy their team, and typically it works out for them. Guess what? Both teams suck this year. um, and I think it's because both teams did not evaluate the players they had in the minor league systems well enough, early enough, and I think they traded away key pieces. And I'm talking about both teams um, at bad times. And the Cardinals have had numerous bad trades. If you look at the Jordan Montgomery and Harrison Bader trade, the Cardinals totally won that trade because now they just DFA'd and let go Harrison Bader today or yesterday or 2 days ago, and he got picked up by the Reds today. And Jordan Montgomery, they lost Jordan Montgomery, and now he's gone from us too. But they DFA'd a guy, and we traded a guy and got prospects back. So I mean, I think it's just bad management, man, and I think they need to not maybe tear the thing down, but figure out what your core is going to be in the future and get rid of everything that's not that and start rebuilding a little bit. Do a retool.
Well, you know who is going to be part of their core? Aaron Judge. They paid the man 8 years, $300 million.
I thought you were going to tell me somebody younger. My apologies. That was
no. Like just meaning he's going to be for most organizations. When we say what we're talking about, you don't have a guy like Aaron Judge. So my guess is that they're not. I would counter to you that they're not going to do that. And the reason I don't think they'll do that, I think they'll always stay with that same approach. They'll develop guys, but it's not going to be the way the Cardinals do it, but that way, because the Yankees are always going to rely on getting that big free agent, and Judge probably was part of their deal. Like, he doesn't want to be in a rebuilding stage or anything like that. You know what I mean?
No, but you know what? He's got to look at what's good for the franchise too. I mean, he's got that contract. He's going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but does he want to wait 3 years for that talent to get there?
I mean, I'd rather. It depends if it's going to be 3 years. I mean, you have Volpe, who came up. I mean, they can go trade for a couple top prospects too, is what I'm getting at. They can just get younger and yeah, they're not going to develop them out of your farm system, but if they're there with the core as 23-year-olds, they're going to grow and still develop together as a team as they go. I guess I should have phrased that better. It's not just your farm system, but enhance your farm system, or even bring guys in to go play in the AAA level for a year and build some rapport and be part of the team and build that core, and then they come up in 2 years. I mean, I would sacrifice that if I'm Judge making the money I'm making. I'll take an extra couple weeks off throughout the year. I'll save my body. Yeah. Whatever.
And that you thought they had that a few years ago when they had Sanchez and they had Gleyber Torres. You thought maybe they had a little bit.
Yeah.
The other team I thought maybe we could kind of get into, the other let's turn to I got here is Acuna getting his 60 stolen base, something that we had talked about earlier in the season. I thought my guy Ruiz from the A's was going to get there first, but Acuna is the first guy to get there in a few years. He probably could get even higher if they push the pace on him, but he's they're not going to do something like that with him. The other reason that we're going to talk about him is because of the incident in Colorado on a Tuesday night, I believe it was, and he's there, right, and he's there in the outfield, and he ends up getting hugged, and the guy's like hugging him for not wrestling him, and Acuna doesn't look threatened. I'm going to say that, right? He doesn't look threatened in any way. And I'll try to get the video up here is when Josh starts to talk here, but I guess my question too would be, what are we doing after he's getting hugged for about 8 seconds? There's no security really in sight for at least a little bit more time. And then there's another guy that comes up. This guy looks a little like kind of like your crazier guy, the second guy that comes in, you know what I mean? And then Acuna ends up falling down. Not like the biggest deal in the world in terms of what actually happened, but just a really weird deal nowadays for like that to happen, don't you think?
Oh, dude, I thought it was real odd and strange. So the only thing I can think of is that the security was really, really slow, and they're 40 times bad, and that's why it took them so long to get to Acuna. The first guy looked like he was just hugging him, like he was loving on him. And I was like, all right, that's really weird and it's wrong, and the guy's gonna get tossed and go to jail. But he wasn't being threatening, or at least it doesn't appear so. But then, yeah, the second guy was like crazy. He was trying to fight through security to get back to Acuna. It was a little odd. Yeah, if we get that video up here somewhere.
See if I
I
can
know
get
you
it
were
up
looking
there.
for
There
it.
it is, right there.
There it
Yes.
is. Yeah. So here's the first guy. He comes up. No, that's the security guard who we saw.
Yeah.
So the guy was already there hugging him. Acuna looks fine. This guy comes in like a bat out of hell, knocks Acuna over, gets tackled.
Yeah.
It's up here in a few seconds is what I was talking about, where he's trying to fight the security guard to get back to Acuna. It was really odd. Hey, look who popped in. What up, dude? Just in time. Like,
Man,
literally just in time.
Dude, our show started like 15 minutes late because my internet connection was shit apparently. So I had to go from upstairs where we normally record down to the office. And then our guest was having this insane echo. So his was jacked up and the other one's was lagging about 15 seconds. I mean, it was insane. I'm shocked we even got a show off. I was like, man, we paid way too damn much for the internet for this shit not to work. But we did it. We got it done. I'd grab some food, and I'm here because I'm that damn dedicated to the show. So what's going on, guys?
No, we
What's up,
appreciate
John?
it.
Appreciate you taking the time to do it. I was listening to you guys a little bit, talking to the Falcons. I was listening to the.
I couldn't even do a wardrobe change.
Yep, I saw that, and now a couple times with Comcast. Is this a Comcast thing? Do you get to rip on them, or yeah?
Yeah, Xfinity will not be one of our sponsors anytime in the future. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I cannot in good conscience promote them.
So we got this video up here real quick, and me and Josh we were talking about Acuna's 6 total bases. And like you said, good timing for you in this regard. It ends up not being like the biggest deal in terms of like anything injury or anything like that. What'd you think? Kind of funny or just really bad job? Like, what did you think's bad secure? Like, how is this kind of like, how are you processing this as a Braves fan with your best player getting kind of hugged? Would we say loved on, and then a weird guy a second situation?
So strange, man. So weird. Now, first of all, if that shit happened in Atlanta, those guys would have been tackled like off their feet. Like that wouldn't have happened. Like they would have been like they're lucky that's in Colorado.
That's it. The security guards were high. That's what took them so long to get
there. It is. They're like, oh, that's funny, man. Check out that dude over there. Wait, he's actually. Oh shit, he's touching Acuna. We better go. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. That's it.
But no, it was a little scary at first because you don't know what they're going to do, man. I don't know if y'all are old enough for the whole like Monica Seles thing back in the day. She got stabbed on the court, so you never know what crazy people are going to do. So yeah, especially with your MVP center fielder. But yeah, I mean, to me, you take them. I know they don't want to show it on TV because obviously they don't want to encourage the people to do it. But what they should do is show like them getting their ass whooped in the tunnel by the security guards, and then they'll be like. You know what? I don't want to jump on the field. I was thinking about it next game, but that guy got the shit kicked out of him, so I'm not going to do it. So yeah, that's yeah. I mean, it's people are nuts, man. I mean, it's hopefully. I'm sure the security will be on heightened alert every ballpark everywhere now. So
yeah. I just I giving him a hug, right, Josh? He was so relaxed there.
It was an aggressive hug. Yeah.
I mean, he was just loving it. He just wanted to share the love.
They asked him after the game, and Acuna said they just like the first guy came out and said he wanted a picture. I'm like, he had to be high as hell. Like, okay, middle of the game, let's go. Hey, man, I'll get your picture with you. Like, what? And then the second guy wanted a picture, and apparently a third, which was, I guess, the third was a child. So obviously you don't want to tackle a kid, but I mean, I don't know, man, it's crazy.
This stuff's always weird with me when people come on the field because I'm a history nut, right? So like you see this throughout history of baseball, throughout sports, like. My favorite is the 71, maybe something like that, where the Suns play the Celtics in like Game 6. And this guy in the Suns hits a like half court shot to tie it up, and like literally the fans are like on the baseline there in the Celtics, ready to charge. It's crazy to think, but I think of baseball, and it's come a long way. You see this happening, Hank Aaron, right? You saw that with him. You saw that with Chamberlain when he did it against the Yankees. He couldn't even get the home plate on it. The one I remember, the only scary one I remember is. The guy, I want to say it was the first base coach for the Royals, and like a dad and son came out of Comiskey Park, out of the stand, and started punching the first base coach there on the Royals. And then then it kind of came out. I remember Nephew Perez got involved with it. Mm-hmm. I remember like the dad had his shirt off. It was kind of a weird deal. That's the one I can only remember where something like really got out of control with the fans. But that one, I don't know, that one always stood out to me.
Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah.
The best one, Josh, though, is what was the fan came on that tried to light the flag, and then
that's my favorite.
That's the guy
That's
who comes
my
out
favorite
there and
one.
grabs it, bro. That's good right there.
I just like hearing the crowd reaction because you know when they get lit up, you hear like you're like, oh, he just got slammed, and you just go on Twitter trying to find whoever got the cell phone video of it. But yeah,
some of those guys get laid out too.
Mm-hmm.
They get
hell yeah,
it's awesome.
That's what the security guards live for. They're like, yeah, come on, jump on the field. Like I'm gonna go hit somebody.
That's the closest thing a soldier. That's like a soldier who wants to go to war,
Yeah,
who wants to go to battle.
yeah.
That's it for them. Yes, this is what I want to do. This is the only way I could ever do anything.
I mean, imagine their eye when they see a 168-pound guy lit up. Like, I'm gonna light that guy up. I'm gonna light that guy up. Right, John. I like your point of it being in Atlanta. That would have been very interesting.
Dude, I'm telling you, those guards don't play there. They would have been sprinting. I mean, they'd have been like, yeah, they would have been. They would have been smoked on the field for sure.
Hey, you got time for question of the week here, brought to you by Row One Brand. Use that code VSP15, get 15% off any item on their website. Here's the question. I'm gonna read it out a couple times here. So, one player that isn't in the Hall of Fame that does have the credentials to be there, who would it be in your opinion? Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a guy that's right on the border. It could be somebody with like 1,500 hits for all I care about, but just maybe a guy that you personally believe could be in the Hall of Fame. You know my guy, Brian Johnson, he didn't pick your Falcons, but he does love Mark Lemke. You got to give him that, John. He does.
I love Brian. I love giving him shit. It's great.
He did give you Mark Lemke. He did not give you the other one, though, on that. Josh, I'll start with you with this, though. Maybe name a player that you think should be in the Hall of Fame that, maybe doesn't quite have the credentials to get there, but you think he should be there.
No, I think you should start with John.
All right, John, let's start with you then. Mark Lip. Yeah.
I'll go. I'll take a Brave. I'll go Dale Murphy, man. I mean, he was on a very bad Braves team during the 80s, and he won a couple of MVPs. And he's on any other team, he's probably already in the Hall like years ago. To be honest, he's got fantastic numbers for. I mean, there's a whole movement to try to get him in the Hall of Fame. So, I mean, hopefully he makes it, man. I mean, that's of course we all want him to around here. There's several of the steroid guys you could name just based on numbers alone, but I mean, they're not going to screw those guys. So, yeah.
Now, he says screw those guys.
Now, what if you had to take? So I know the question's kind of worded this way. So I'm trying. I want you guys to start. I want you to think a little bit more. Maybe like a fan favorite of yours. Like this guy could have 1,200 hits for all I care about. But like for me, I wrote down like Garrett Anderson. Like I feel like he's like a Hall of Fame player that just doesn't quite have the credentials to get there. But whenever I saw him up to bat, he was a problem. He was an issue. He was a guy I did not want the A's to face with a runner on second base and 2 outs. He was like Jim Edmonds is a guy to me where I just think all his plays like that. And another one I have is this is a personal one, Miguel Tejada. Of course, you guys know I like him.
Yeah.
How about this old school name? How about Brian Giles? Like that's a guy I think of as well that kind of had a couple those are stud years he had he's with like a 3-4 time All-Star. But he's not a Hall of Famer either. There's just not that there either.
Yeah, that's a good call. See, guys, Josh, you can go ahead too if you want to answer. I'm pondering.
Like when I think of the Braves,
right.
I think of Otis Nixon. That's the guy I think of. Go ahead, Josh.
Otis Nixon. Yeah.
I'm gonna give you one, and it's a dumb reason, but Tommy John.
There we go.
I like
How
it.
is Tommy John? Hold on. Now let me defend it, and so you can actually like it and you go get a good argument. So how is Tommy John not in the Hall of Fame? He's obviously first dude to go through the surgery that they obviously named it after him. They thought the injury was so bad he was never going to be able to pitch again. Heck, we still thought up into the mid-'90s that, you were never going to be the same pitcher again. After the surgery, he ended up being one of the most durable pitchers in baseball. He never won 20 games in a season until after he had the Tommy John surgery. He was a 4-time All-Star. He played 26 seasons, which is second all-time. And he maxed out at 31.7% of the vote in 2009, which is his last year of eligibility. His career ERA was 3.34. He had 2,245 strikeouts, and his record was 288 and 231.
Damn.
Like, legit. Now, we all laughed because I said Tommy John. He's got a real legit argument to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
and then put it on top of it that he went and did what everybody said he wasn't going to be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And killed it.
Yeah, that's
John, I
wild.
wonder. I'd be curious if I was there on that question. I would love. Did Cooperstown have anything on him in the Hall of Fame? Like, is there something that they?
Nothing that stood out. There's so much stuff there. But yeah, there's nothing that just popped out at me that there was. But I'm sure that there probably is. But I would have said honestly, if McGriff didn't get in this year, I would have said him because we've been asking for Fred forever.
How about Sheffield?
But Sheffield and a recent one, man, Brian McCann. Even though he didn't finish his career, he was a huge fan favorite, man. And just he was in the booth the other night for one of the games, and I mean he's still around here. He coaches travel ball and plays golf all the time. I mean it's he's living the life now. But he was going to Ron Gant back in the 90s, man. Everybody loved Ron Gant.
I love Ron Gant.
I mean, big freaking biceps the size of my freaking thighs and go out there and just hammer home
runs.
A
weird stance too.
Brian Jordan.
Brian Jordan, yep.
Yeah, and I say that for both of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love
Brian. Hell, even JD Drew could probably make an argument.
Yeah, that damn trade.
An argument. I'm not saying he should be there. I'm saying there could be an argument. How about Lee Smith?
Lee Smith, man, that's a pull.
Isn't he in the Hall
Lee Smith?
I don't think so. Is he?
No.
I thought he was.
No, he's not, because his last year eligibility was 2011, and he only got 45.3% of the vote. Dude played 13 years, had the record for saves. He's third all time in games finished with 802, 7-time All-Star, won National League Rolaids Relief Man of the Year award twice, and he was the American League version once. He finished his career with 478 saves, which is third all time, 1,251 strikeouts, and his ERA was 3.03.
Damn. Yeah, Lee Smith was good. He was intimidating too as a pitcher. He threw inside. He threw hard.
Go ahead,
Sean.
I'll give two more. Right? I mean, I could do this all night. Probably Mark Wohlers, Javi Lopez, another two good Braves ones. Wohlers is one of the first guys coming out throwing like 95. We're like, holy shit, he's throwing 95. That is fast. And Javi was just a fan favorite for forever, and he was a great offensive catcher, probably the best offensive catchers we've ever had until maybe Murphy. But yeah.
It was so funny listening when I went back and watched that 93 series. Like I say, it was against the Phillies. They were talking about those guys like before they're like the Braves decided not to bring them up. They trusted these guys. Like that's how they could tell. That was like 2 years later with these guys. Mm-hmm. I just got a few other ones. I got like personal Ray Langford, Josh Ray Langford. I was a big Langford guy there. Dave Henderson, I was a big fan of as well. Torrey Hunter, Dan Ugla. I got a guy in there.
Dan Ugla, Jesus.
Jose Vidro, he used to play for an Expos. Anybody that watched him, he was a good player. And one of my favorites, he's a catcher, Jason Kendall. I got to throw him in there. He was just one of my favorites. The guy was a dog when he played. I love to watch that guy play baseball, especially the way he recovered after that injury. Like John said, we could do that all night long if we wanted to with it. Grady Sizemore, I know that's what I asked 10 years ago. When I coached, he was the most popular player, like Grady Sizemore. But he couldn't finish it off.
Is Kenny Lofton in the Hall of Fame? He's in the Hall of Fame, is he?
He is not.
That's be a good one. He was a dickhead, but he was a good player. Huh?
He was.
Roger Maris, he's not in, is he?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Yeah,
he should totally be in.
Did I tell you guys that I got mistaken for Dan Ugla one time? Did I tell you this story?
Really?
What?
Yeah, totally, exactly, ridiculous. But he's like 5'8". I'm like 6'1", like 6'2", is huge, But no, I was at a Willie's, getting some and this couple was behind me, and this was years ago. I was probably 30, 31 years old. And they kept like kind of talking, looking at me. I was like, I don't know what the hell is going on. Like, y'all kind of weird, whatever. And so, I'm over, I got my food. I'm getting like the chips and sauce or whatever. And this lady comes over. She's like, hey, she's like, my boyfriend's a little embarrassed to ask, but would you mind signing this for him? And I'm like, sure. And I'm like, I was like, who do you think I am? And she was like, Dan Ugla, right? And I was like, no, I'm not. I was like, I don't even look anything like that. I mean, I was built. I mean, that was the only thing. But I was like, dude, no. And she was like, she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no. I was like, you still want me to sign it? I mean, I can sign my name on there. But that was hilarious. Anyway, that's funny stuff.
That's great. That's a good story, man. Yeah, it would have been. Next time you have to sign it if you get that again.
That's
Like,
funny.
Absolutely, yeah. But
Yeah, Dan, how do you want? Who am I making this out to? Bethany, yeah, good for you. I like that right there.
Yeah.
You have a great summer.
Bizarre, man. Bizarre.
Hey, hot and cold this week. I'm going to start with a team that you should be very concerned about, the Dodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Anytime I can put the Oakland A's in a sentence, I'm going to put it, gentlemen. The Dodgers joined the 2002 Oakland A's as the only team in the expansion era since 1961 to win 24-plus games in the month of August. If that's not red hot, I do not know what is. That's a hot of the month, man. Josh, I mean, we've talked about now they sit right now, I think with a 14.5 game lead right now, 83-49. They're right. I mean, now the Braves kind of have to worry still about home field advantage a little bit, I would think. So that they've kind of made it, at least that part for the Braves sweat. What do you think about the Dodgers there, Josh? That is as on fire as you can be.
It bothers me.
Bothers me too.
It really bothers me. No, the Dodgers have become incredibly hot. I mean, they are ridiculous right now. Man, I was so looking forward to the Dodgers not winning the division this year. Like I was so sold that they weren't going to do it. But Arizona let me down. They've kind of regained their pace a little bit, but no, I think the Braves should be worried. I'm not gonna lie. This goes back to momentum. Can they carry it through September? That's the question. We will see. But if this thing seeds out right, and it's Atlanta and LA in the NLCS, then I think we're gonna have a heck of a good NLCS.
And John, I mean, when I say hot with the Dodgers, I want to also add Mookie Betts to this. This guy's now the MVP favorite now. This is his month right now. The last 30 games. This is what he has, gentlemen.
I don't care.
30 runs, 47 hits, 9 doubles, 8 home runs, and 25 RBIs. I mean, are you kidding me? I mean, that is. And then, who's batting behind him? Yeah, another stud out of this world, Freddie Freeman. I mean, just unreal how hot this team has been.
Yeah, it's Ronald's still winning the MVP, but yeah, I mean, he's had a ridiculous month. He's
the betting favorite now, though, John.
So stupid. If he goes 60-30, nobody's ever done it, and I mean, just come on. But of course, I'm going to say that. But
he's got to get 40. I think he has to get 40. I'm being honest to make it a lock.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, they've had a fantastic run. This series is going to be. We moved some pitching around just so we could have Strider. We have our guys. We've got Strider tonight. Going, and I think they have a to be determined day after tomorrow, I believe. And then I think Fried and Urias are going against each other. It's gonna be a hell of a series, man. It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, both teams are good to kind of see. I'm sure. I mean, anything can happen in the playoffs, but yeah, this would essentially probably be your NLCS, and I do think we need home field advantage, man, because I think LA's a tough place to play. I mean, when you're backs against the wall. So I'd much rather have, Truist Park or whatever field filled up full of folks going crazy here for us,
Mr. Freeze.
John, I'm totally rooting for you guys tonight because I got Strider. I have Strider on the mound. But I need him to dominate everybody except for Will Smith because I got Will Smith catching.
Oh, well, that's understandable.
But I hope Strider has 17 strikeouts though.
Josh, it might be a little easier for you, but do you guys stay up for like a game like this that starts at 10:10? I mean, it's a big game too. Do you stay up for it and watch up the
whole yeah. When I was in Indiana, I did it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like when the Blues would start playing at 11 o'clock in Vancouver or out on the West Coast, I stayed up until 2 o'clock watching that game.
Dang.
Did not matter to me, baby.
If it's a complete shit show, I'll turn it off.
Yeah,
but I mean, like
same.
It's but it's even with this. I guess both teams really, but with the Braves, the way their offense have been this year, you never know, dude. Like they can pull a 5 spot on the board, and then you're like, oh shit, where'd that come from? So I mean, it's there's been a few times I went to bed and woke up like, oh damn, that happened. It's like so yeah, it's tough to turn off because you never know.
It's probably crazy how we have all grown up watching sports. Like seriously, like for me, if my game's on, like when the Alaska shootout was on like at 10 o'clock, that was late, a big deal. Like for you, the game starts at 1 o'clock. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy to think of like, football for me, like 10 a.m. I can't imagine it. I cannot imagine the first game starting at 1. That seems crazy to me, like out of this mind to start your first game at 1 o'clock. So like that stuff is so funny to think about, like just the way we view sports a little bit too with things like that as well.
When we moved to Vegas, we lived in Vegas for 3 years, and that was the biggest change. I was like, damn, I actually have to wake my ass up on Sundays to see the game start. Like if I want to see the Falcons, exactly. If I want to see the Falcons, I got to wake up, and it pissed me off because I had to get up to watch. I was always watching NFL Countdown or whatever the pregame show was too. So that was a whole adjustment, dude. That was a whole adjustment. I mean, you're in Vegas, you got to get up early on a Sunday. That shit was terrible.
It's nice for the Sunday night game, though. It's nice.
You're right. The night games were great because you were done at 7, 8. You could go do whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah.
I mean, here it's like you start at 1 and you're going through 11 o'clock at night. So
that's where I think baseball's going to benefit. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
You're right.
Yeah, and that's where I think baseball.
I loved it.
Yeah, me too. I think,
but it literally. Damn it, Darren. I'm sorry. I was gonna say it literally took me till December of last year, so 2 full football seasons to get into the rhythm of the game starting at noon and not being at 1 o'clock. And college football is even worse because now I get games that start at 10:30.
Yep.
And I'm not used to that either. So that took me 2 seasons to get used to.
Other cold of the week I got is the Angels. The Angels could be cold of the month too as well. They put 5 guys on waivers. They get 3 of them. We talked about John got picked up by the Guardians. I believe one by the Reds, and I think the Mariners got the other one as well, a reliever. Cold of the week there with them. They put the 5 guys on waivers. It looks like Ohtani obviously is going to be as good as gone. Ohtani has the UCL thing. Trout's back on the injured list. I don't know. Like, is the franchise more cursed right now in the last kind of 15 years in this team? They have great players, but or a great player at a time, I guess, you know what I mean? Signing Pools, they still had he was good for a few years. They had Torrey Hunter. They signed these guys that are older. But I mean, this team kind of seems a little snake bit a little bit to me.
It's hard to argue. I mean, it's like, and then the year they decide, like this year, they bet on themselves and we're going to go in, we're going to stay, we want to keep Ohtani, we're going to get guys, and then they go get those guys and they suck ass. So it's like, I mean, complete opposite direction. Yeah, it's hard not to. I mean, and kind of feels kind of Cleveland Brownish to me, to be honest.
What do you think, John, of Trout? What do you think? What do you make of him now? Like, because now we're starting. I mean, this sucks. Is he done? I'm not saying he is, but like in baseball, you break down. Some guys don't bounce back, and like I'm a little worried he's not going to be able to play like a full season. Really, like he kind of has like a Mauer feel to me. I know he was a catcher, but it's starting to kind of get that feel to me a little bit.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, yes, it sucks for multiple reasons. It sucks he's been on the Angels for his entire career, that we can't see more of him. He hasn't been in the playoffs. I mean, that player of that caliber you want to see in the big stage. Like, I was shocked he didn't go to the Phillies or something like that, when free agency came along, him being from that side of him being from Philly, but or Jersey, wherever you know what I'm talking about. But I mean, just I don't know, man. I hope, because he's so fun to watch. I mean, when you do get a chance to watch him, he's great for baseball. But I don't know, man. He cannot seem to play a season, so it's worrisome to say the least.
What do you think their thoughts on the Angels there, Josh? They waived those 5 guys, Trout, Ohtani down. Their team's 10 games out in the division. What do you got?
They made bad decisions at the trade deadline. Should have traded Ohtani and gotten the world for him. The guys that traded for that. That's just I think that goes back to the bad luck and things just not working out for them. But
that's gonna Josh, you're right though. That is gonna kill. I mean, you're right though. That is
now he walks and they get nothing.
I said they should have gone in, so I would have been fired. But you would have been hired.
I mean, I would fire you.
I had them. I said they should have gone all in, but you're right. You're right. That's gonna come back to kill them.
I think that's part of it. And when it comes to Trout, I think the first time, it was probably the second time Trout got injured, they should have said, and how tall is Trout? I don't know how big the dude is.
I think he's
I'll say 6'1.5".
Okay, that's big enough. They should have said, you know what? We're moving your butt to first base.
Looks like Dan Ugla. No, I'm just kidding.
They should have moved him to first base, where all he had to do was stand there and catch the ball and dive once in a blue moon.
He's 6'2".
Because he's too injury prone. This is why, in my opinion, He's not a lock for the Hall of Fame, and he never will be at this point unless he can just get healthy and actually play complete seasons. The most important ability to have is availability. And when you're not available and you're getting paid that kind of money, and I think that's part of the problem. They have so much money wrapped up in certain players. They don't have enough money to go get the correct complementary pieces, and they just keep swinging and missing. This is why I don't like big contracts for teams. Like this is why I'm perfectly fine with the Cardinals not going out and spending $250 million on a pitcher for 5 years. You know?
Dude, a 3-time MVP though, I just can't see it where he doesn't make the Hall of Fame still with all his stat. I mean, it'd be hard for me to see.
Okay,
I hear you on
rephrase.
that one.
He shouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer then.
Okay, I'll give you that. I can give you that argument there. That we got our guy, some guy from Texas out there, Logan Stone, of course, tuning in. I think that they should have a traded out Trout in the offseason and given Ohtani everything. I think it was admirable that they went out and at the deadline to get some talent. I'm with you, Logan, on that. That's kind of what I wanted to do. The Trout angle, that's kind of something that not many people talked about. That's like where the Yankees, Josh, we talked about how do you fix the Yankees. That seems like a Yankees move, right?
Yeah.
Like get one of these two guys on injury kind of thing. Hope they bounce back. There are teams out that don't go at all at the deadline. My A's, yes. So I agree with you on that at all times, Logan, with that for sure. But the Angels super cold for it, and the Guardians they benefit. They pick up 3 guys that they ended up dropping. I got another cold of the month too, and I'm going to go cold of the season. We're starting to get into September. This guy was talked about as one of the best pitchers. Or do you have more on the Angels, Josh?
No. I'm interested to see where you go because I don't know where you're going. I'm sorry, I kind of chugged.
This guy right here, he was in the Cy Young. Dylan Cease. I mean, what a terrible season this guy has had. He has not performed well at all. 28 games started, 6 wins, 4.91 ERA, 1.461 WHIP. The guy has got electric stuff. So with the game I saw him pitch a few times, he just hasn't been in the strike zone as much this year, has not controlled the fastball at all, which then big league hitters aren't going to bite on your breaking ball at all, and that's the case. And the White Sox have just been a disappointment themselves. Just an absolute terrible season for him. The White Sox also fired their GM and longtime president. Oh gosh, what's the guy's name? Anderson. I can't think of his name right now. The guy Williams. Excuse me. Ken Williams. This is why, Brian. Back to football real quick. The White Sox president there, Ken Williams. His son was a punt returner for the Niners, and if you remember, he had a huge fumble against the Giants in overtime, and the Giants then recovered and then went on to beat the Patriots in the fumble. So everybody around here remembers him because of that. Because of that reason right there. Everybody knows the White Sox GM because of his son messing up in the playoff game here for the Niners. So I got cold there with that. I got a couple of hots as well. Trey Turner in the division there in the AL East. So the story goes, the Phillies fans give him a standing ovation on August 4th because mocking him basically for how crappy he's been on the team, not playing up to his level as a free agent. Since then, he's gone 35 of 95, 9 home runs, 26 RBIs in 24 games. I'd say that's responding to the critics there with a little bit of a sarcasm there. I mean, Trey Turner's a beast. It's only a matter of time before he busts out of it. Those are a few of my hot and colds of the week, gentlemen. John, any of those stand out to you?
What's up, Josh?
I was jumping Darren's case because he missed one.
Go ahead, get me on one. Who you got?
And this is a guy I don't particularly care for. Wilson Contreras has been one of the hottest bats in the MLB since the start of July. And I know we're talking about August, but we got to give the man his due. He's been doing it for 2 months straight at the top of the league in nearly every offensive category. The Cardinals fans in a very bad season are finally getting to see what they're paying or what the team is paying $87.5 million for over the next 5 years. The bat has finally come around. He looks like he's taking some ownership of the team. He is one of the hottest players in the MLB right now. And it makes me happy and mad at the same time to say it.
I'll throw in our Marcell Ozuna too.
Oh, he has been good.
Dude, what a turnaround. Like, I can tell you every person in Atlanta wanted his ass on a next flight. Like, they wanted to leave him whatever city we were in. Like, don't let him back on the plane. Like, that's how bad everybody wanted him out of Atlanta after the first month of the season. He's going to win a freaking Silver Slugger this year for the DH in the National League. It's insane to turn. I mean, like, over 30 home runs. He's been an RBI machine. It's wild, man. It's crazy.
as we do the hot and cold here, I'll put the Braves kind of game here on the game day here so people can kind of check it out as it's going on here if you want. One other one I had, this is a personal note for me, is the A's. The A's, as you know, are getting closer to moving with the they've kind of, or they're getting a little closer. They're getting steps there. The A's mayor, though, because the A's still need a place to play baseball for the next 4 years. They still need a place to play in Oakland. The Giants are still a possibility, and a few others. Stadiums, I would be so pissed at the Giants if they do that to them. But anyways, the A's I would be so pissed if they did that. But anyways, the A's mayor saying that the A's should be able to keep their name rights and also their uniform rights. And they should be able to get expansion rights. I at least like her kind of making that kind of like thread out there. That's at least something I appreciate. Logan, yes, I know you love Trey Turner. I brought it up for you. You are in love with Trey Turner. I got to keep it PG, so I'm going to just keep it at that with you, Trey Turner there. So that's where we're at with you, Trey Turner, my friend, when it comes to that. Braves-Dodgers just getting started there. The first inning there, as you see there. Braves up to bat early here at the top of the first. You got to love a little late-night baseball. None of these 6:45. Give me a 7:10 start on the West Coast here, baby. I like that all night here. John, real quick, I got to go to these power rankings, and then we'll call it a show here. When I was looking out on the MLB.com, they had an interesting thought where I wanted to kind of get it's the top power rankings for hitters. Okay, so I'll get the share screen up here in just a second. Let me get it up here for you guys, just so you guys know what what I'm talking about with it in just a second. But with that said, I got they got Mookie Betts, Ohtani, Acuna Jr., Freeman, Rodriguez, Olsen, Harper, Seager, Witt Jr., and Diaz on that list. I just real quick wanted to go over this. We don't have to spend much time on it. But who at the beginning of the season would have thought Yandy Diaz would have been on this list? Like, I would have not been on that one at all. I would not have been on the Yandy Diaz trip at all. Matt Olson, I mean, it still makes me sick to this day. This guy, I mean, I know he slowed down a little bit, John, a little bit into home run ranking, but he's still been awesome as well. Corey Seager, a little bounce back. And then, Josh, you talked about this guy a lot at the beginning of the year. He's on the top 10 power rankings right now. Bobby Witt Jr., that guy is going to be a stud.
I told you.
Yeah, he's going to be a beast.
I mean, they said he was the number one prospect in baseball. He came up. He had some rough spots in his rookie year, like most rookies do. Yeah. But, he's on the Royals. So my curiosity was, is this guy going to not take off and launch because of the team he's on? And are we going to see another player wasted because the Royals have piss poor management and they're not great at developing players and keeping them anymore? So, but I mean, he's still rising to the occasion. He is leading that team. He is the heartbeat of that team. I got a good friend who I work with who is a Kansas City Royals fan. So I get to hear a little bit of his side of it on things. But Bobby Witt Jr. is the real deal, guys. And if I am a team looking for the next electric young guy, I'm going to go give up my number one prospect and my number two prospect to get Bobby Witt Jr. on my team.
Yeah.
And whatever third baseman or shortstop I have to give up or whatever other position player I have to get up to get him. Because he is up there. He's going to be great for the next 20 years. Well, 10, 12 years.
I'm going to say this still about Mookie Betts. To this day, I just enjoy saying this because as a baseball fan, I hate the Red Sox, and I love that they traded Mookie Betts away. That just makes me happy that they made that mistake. I don't even care for the Dodgers. I'm just glad he's not on the Red Sox doing what he does. I'm going to be straightforward with that. Red Sox Nation, come at me with that one. I don't care, and I think you probably would agree with me. It's still one of the dumbest decisions that your team has ever made. They always sign people that out of the blue you traded absolute stud. Still to this day makes just absolutely no sense whatsoever in my mind. All right, let's get to the weekend best here. These are the bet. We'll wrap it up with this, John. We've been kind of doing this kind of fun, looking at some series going into the weekend that are the best. Obviously, right now we got your Braves and your Dodgers teeing it off right now in a 4-game series. Josh, that's going to be a really good series tonight. You got, Fried and Urias tonight? Is that who's going at it? No, you got Strider and Lynn. Tomorrow you got Max Fried and Urias going at it. Mm-hmm. Josh, we talked about it a little bit earlier. That's going to be a beauty.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This could be a preview to what we see in the postseason.
I
So
hope it is. I hope it is.
everybody, grab your popcorn, sit back, kick your feet up, and enjoy some what should be very, very good baseball.
Does it matter for one more team? Does it matter for the Dodgers more because they're at home and they're behind? Like, or does the Braves, like, if they lose 3 out of 4? Is that like I don't know. Like, I'm kind of trying to feel out the teams though, because like we talked about, like, I don't know, when you meet in the regular season like this, especially in September when your record's like this, I would think it would mean a little bit to the teams a little bit more.
Definitely, yeah. I'll be okay with a split there. To be honest, 2-2. I mean, I'd be okay. I want to win the series, but I definitely, if we come out of it 1-3, or God forbid we get swept, then yeah, you're going to see a lot of craziness on Twitter. I can promise you that from the Atlanta folks. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it definitely means more than like this happening in July or June or something like that. This is definitely, I think, a very heightened kind of urgency, I think. And I think Snicker's always done a good job at kind of keeping the boys kind of even keel with it. And but I mean, unfortunately, I think the Dodgers do a good job of it as well. So it'll be interesting to see, man. I mean, it's going to be a lot of emotion there in that stadium, so it's going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be good. That is just a beauty of a series. Like, there really is no better one right now going on. We got the bottom of the first right now. Mookie Betts started off the inning with a walk right now. So Dodgers have the first guy in bat with Freddie or Freeman at bat. We'll see if Strider can get out of the jam here in the bottom of the first. Like I said, not a better 1-2 combo. Those are walking Betts, not shocking. Other series thought were some good as well. Chicago Cubs at Cincinnati, kind of an intriguing series there because of, like we said, Josh, like the Cubs, if they're going to make a run, this is going to be their time to make a run. And if it's the Reds, it's going to be their time to make a run as well. This is a big series, kind of just in terms of if one of these teams are going to make a division push, this is the time.
Yeah, whoever wins this definitely gets some momentum, and it helps. I mean, if the Cubs win it, they're basically gonna push Cincinnati out. If Cincinnati gets it, they're gonna be tied with the Cubs. I think, or they'll be tied with the Cubs. They jump the Cubs. I'm not really sure.
They'd be tied with the Cubs.
Okay, I thought it was tied. And that changes everything. Now it's really is a 3-team race. So I think it's more important for the Cubs to get the Reds out of the way, so they just have to worry about Milwaukee. But I mean, we'll see what happens.
I just got a text from John, says my power, what the beep, my power just went out, not a cloud in the sky. John, don't worry about it at all. We appreciate your time. I know me and Josh appreciate you just taking the time. I know you had a busy day today doing that too. So just not just getting the Braves, your thoughts on the Braves, but your other thoughts around the MLB as well. So we both really appreciate your time with that, regardless of what the power situation is. As Josh knows, with my power, who knows? That was ridiculous a couple weeks ago. So I feel you on that as well. All right, Josh, I got a couple other ones here. Baltimore at Arizona, kind of an interesting one to me. See how Arizona they're still right there in the wild card though, Josh, right? Right there. So, and Baltimore coming into Arizona, that's just kind of I don't know, it's not a matchup you see very often.
No, I mean, that's credit to the
to where the games matter too, I guess.
Yeah, and to the new schedule. I mean, we're getting to see a lot more teams play each other we're not used to. I think that the Orioles are going to take this series easily. They'll take 2 out of 3 at least.
Wow.
They may even take 3. Looking at the pitching matchups, the best. Gallen is the only really, really good pitcher that Arizona has going. It looks like it's 4-5-1, and the Orioles are going to have Flaherty against Gallen. They're going to have.
So are you done on Arizona now? You sound like you are done on Arizona.
Or is this just it's this matchup. Okay. I think the Orioles are better.
It's an Orioles thing. Okay.
Bradish is pitching for the Orioles in the second game. And then in the first game, it's going to be Irvin. Well,
Irvin Davies
in the
first.
Yeah, so I guess first game could go either way. But I would see the second game going to the Orioles. And Gallen's on the mound, so, he could just shut the Orioles down. But I don't know.
John just tuned in here. Says, "Sorry guys, power just went out, and there are 0 storms. I'll finish watching here in the dark." John, if that means power's out, then maybe I need to be a team player here. I don't know if this is gonna matter, but I'll put the game day on here just for you. So you can have
man, look at him.
what? That's a team player right there. That's a guy here. Freddie Freeman singled there, John there. So Mookie Betts did move to third, and then your boy Will Smith did strike out. So Strider and a jam. Runners first and third with with Muncy up. Muncy known for the strikeout, so we'll see if he can avoid the strikeout there in that point. So it is such a fascinating game. This is where I love having MLB radio. It's like I don't have the TV part, but I can at least listen to the game tonight as well. Josh, I like your bold pick though with the Orioles possibly taking 3 there in the division. All right, a couple other ones I got. How about Philadelphia at Milwaukee? That's a pretty good series. Wheeler, Peralta in the first matchup.
This is the one I'm most interested in.
Yeah.
Because it has playoff implications both ways.
Yep.
And 100% both ways in different divisions. So,
no
this is the one that I would pay attention to this weekend, probably mostly. As much as I don't like either team, I'll be rooting for the Phillies. But then again, I don't really want to see the Cubs win the division, so I might be rooting for the. It sucks when your team's no good and you're not used to this because you're looking at everything else, trying to enjoy all the rest of baseball. But we got Wheeler versus Peralta. That's a good pitching matchup. You got Nola versus to be determined, and then
it's gonna be a tough series, man. It's gonna be a tough one. You think Milwaukee or Philly takes the edge? Just make a pick, bold pick.
Dude,
Turner's been on fire.
That's such a tough decision. I guess I would go Philly.
I think
I'd go Philly 2 out of 3 just because I don't know who Game 2's Milwaukee's pitcher is going to be. But Miley's pitching in Game 3 versus Suarez. Suarez hasn't been good.
Yeah, no, I get you on that.
That's just the pitching matchups aren't what you want to see. I like seeing 1s versus 1s and 2s versus 2s.
No,
I don't like seeing 1s versus 4s and 5s. It just bothers me.
That's where the series get interesting because if your 1 loses versus a 4, it changes everything too. That's where it really kind of throws these things possibly for a loop. But I do agree with you. It's not the same when you don't get the ace versus the ace. Can I throw out Minnesota at Texas? It's a big series, right? Minnesota, if Texas needs to start winning ball games, they got Scherzer going against Ryan tomorrow. To me, that was the other big one as well. Can I go Angels versus A's? No, nobody's going to believe me on that one. I'll get kicked off the show for that one. Can't do that. Sorry about that, guys. But with that said, Josh, we got 1-0. I just want to give a little update. The end of the first, Dodgers did get a run on a ground up by Max Muncy there, so the Dodgers do lead right now 1-0 in that game. Other couple score updates: Marlins beat the Nationals 6-1 today behind Garrett. The Yankees lost to the Tigers again, like we mentioned. Tigers won 4-3, and the Giants right now are up 5-0 against the Padres in the first or in the top of the third. Just a couple runs that went off the charts. Tyler, you're glad you weren't here for the hot earlier. Just because Tyler's a good friend of mine. Can I bring up this one more time? The Dodgers have joined the Oakland A's for 24+ wins. That's just for you, Tyler.
You're mean.
Is a good friend. Oh, come on. He got to write F the Dodgers and I posted it for him. He can't be doing that for him. So anyways, the Dodgers got the one iPad. Tyler knows what's up. I love his spirit towards the Dodgers as well. Yes, Tyler, F the Dodgers, John says as well. Both these guys are not fans of the Dodgers. Tyler, if you're on there, what's with your Giants real quick? Your Giants are they going to hang in there and win the wild card? Josh, can that be our last thing here real quick? Just kind of give a wild card update just for you.
Let's do it.
We got Tampa Bay, Houston, Texas. Does that remain the wild card, or does Toronto pass them in the AL? Real quick, does Toronto make it, or does Texas fall
out? Texas finds a way to stay in.
All right, so Texas in. Let's go to the NL now. Philly, 5 games up in the wild card. Chicago, 2 games up. Giants, a half game over Arizona, Josh. 1 game ahead of Cincinnati. 3 ahead of Miami, and who they're playing tonight, San Diego, 7.5. They're out of it. Does San Francisco hang on, or does Arizona, Cincinnati, or Miami sneak in there?
I'm going to do it. Man. Arizona's going to make it.
He's going in on Arizona. I can respect
I'm going in, baby. I'm going in.
I respect that. He's going in on it.
Sorry, that's went way, way back. My apologies.
I like that. I can respect that. Acuna stays hot. Single to start the second. Just saw that up on the scoreboard as well. Braves, the Braves are going to make a run here. Lance Lynn is very, very hittable. I know that with Lance Lynn. He's as hittable as anybody right now. It's so funny how Lance Lynn
Actually, he's pitched pretty well since he's gotten into LA, man.
He has. But he doesn't he's going to throw the heater, right? That's
yeah.
Tyler chimes in here, Josh. We have 3 starting pitchers of the whole roster. That does me that's a mere mortal say at the end of the sale lot. You're dead where you're standing. Yes, he is dead. You are dead where you're standing right now. It is crazy though. The Giants are having this many guys, Josh, do first inning starts, and then they throw a guy for 4 innings. Like, it's crazy that the Giants actually are only a half game or actually ahead in the wild card just based on the way they're using their roster.
I mean, you know what? If it works, it works. Roll with it. But I don't see that being sustainable. I just don't. But it might be. It's different, man. So it very well could be. Can you imagine? I want to jump back to the AL for 1 second. Just one thought in my mind.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if Tampa Bay didn't have all the injuries with their pitching?
What, you mean like Lanslow the whole season or something?
Well, Glasnow, and then they had the other kids, Springs.
McClanahan.
And the McClanahan. I mean, can you imagine if they had their whole pitching staff and not half of it?
That'd be ridiculous. I would give you
that.
Oh
my gosh, we'd be looking at another 116 win team.
But I feel like,
and we wouldn't be talking about the Orioles.
Yeah, but the Orioles, but to the Rays' credit, they got off to a hot start and they had a good chance to hold on. And the Orioles have stayed more consistent than them. So
and Tampa Bay lost almost half their pitching.
That's true, but I mean, the Orioles, I'm sure, have had their injuries too along the way. And I don't know. To me, in baseball, that's the one sport where if you play 162 games, it's hard for me to complain about you winning your division when you do it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I get that argument. I'm just saying, if we could just imagine if they didn't have the injury.
No, I hear you.
Holy smokes.
I hear you on that. Real quick here on a couple late updates, Josh. We'll call it a show here. We got the Dodgers, Braves here, top of the second, runners on first and second. Sean Murphy just got hit by a pitch.
No.
Right now, you got Arcia up right now versus the Dodgers at the moment. So we got a little action going on there in LA. A big game out here in LA. So it's kind of fun to be doing the game or doing the show like right here too. And they got the catcher for the Orioles. Yeah, Addison.
Rasmussen. Yep, that's who it was.
Yeah, he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous for sure. So no doubt about that. Josh, that was a fun show. We got to shout out John taking the time to come on a day after he did out of his Falcon Mine. Tyler, appreciate you tuning in here. Bud Layton kind of had commented in. It's always fun having you on. I got it. Me and Josh say one of these Thursdays. Hopefully you can come on. Logan, appreciate your comments. I'm sorry about the Cardinals sucking. Sorry about the Yankees sucking. Sorry about the Rangers sucking. But we appreciate your comments, sir. It does mean a lot when you guys comment in. And then John, again, like you said, I know you guys are rock stars. 800 subscribers today to Out of Your Falcon Mind, Josh. 800 subscribers. We got to give a little shout out to them.
Hold on, we got another shout out.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Appreciate them coming on when he's got other things going on. So it's cool to get his thoughts on it. Tyler, like I said, we got to get you on one of these times. Josh, I thought that was a good show, man. We're back at it. September baseball, baby.
Yes, sir. And we got to give Caleb from Woo Pig a shout out on his YouTube. He had his first 1,000 view video.
Who was the Houston Nut? Houston Nut, is that what it was? The coach.
No, it's Woo Pig.
Yeah, no, but the coach he interviewed, I think, was Houston Nut.
Oh,
I think that's who he interviewed there. So yeah, definitely.
So if you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Absolutely. What do you have? 1.5K views when I checked it out yesterday. I listened to half of it this morning. I listened to a little bit the rest of it later. But Caleb does a great job there. I got to shout out Doug at Saturday Showdown Thursday night Wars, and of course we shouted out John there as well with it. So, guys, we're doing a lot here at Variety Sports Network. Tyler's got the T&B podcast. He's rocking that. We got Talking the Gridiron. We got Fat Boy Fader. We got Far End of the Bench. We got a lot of things going on here all week long. We're up to 380 subscribers now on Variety Sports Network. Appreciate everybody that's tuning in. Our guys at 3 the Hardaway this week. And let's be real, they were retweeting our stuff a lot. Appreciate them doing that as well. This week, they got a great podcast over there at Let's Be Real. So make sure you guys check out their show as well. Row One Brand, Dugout Mugs. For Josh, we good?
Brother.
All right, baby. For The Edge, for Josh Edwards, I'm Darren Breyer. Peace.
Hey, this is Brandon, CEO of the Variety Sports Network. Thank you again for watching tonight's show. Best way you can support us is by hitting that subscribe button, that like button, and hitting the notifications so you don't miss out on the next show right here on the Variety Sports Network.